Hello there beautiful people, welcome back to my channel and another vlog of a day in my life as an actress, as a creative, documenting and sharing my journey as creative. I thought that I would grab the camera while I do my hair because I haven't done my hair for a minute and I've been doing like overnight curls, but then I've also been kind of lazy in the evenings recently, so I didn't overnight curl it. And I don't know about you, but I really feel like I am a volumey hair kind of girl, so let's do it. And I thought I would talk to you about what I've been doing over the last few days, what I'm doing today. Hi, by the way, if you're new here, my name's Sarah. I'm a medical doctor and an actress, and I'm documenting my attempt at creating a really fulfilling career in the creative industries. And these videos are completely uncut because I really, honestly, just don't particularly have the time to edit them. Like, if I was doing really good edits, then this would become the career. But this is very much just the documentation of the process, which honestly helps me so much with accountability. And I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And I don't know, I had that little video pop off and everyone was like, whoa, you did it, you're amazing. And I was like, we need a reality, you know, an Instagram V reality check. So this is the V reality bit of my story. So today has been a good day so far. What have I been doing today? I have got stuff done, I did some cooking and I did some planning. I made like a little vision board. I wrote my goals down because I realised that even though I had done my goal setting this year, I hadn't actually finished making it presentable. So where I wrote down my goals, what I like to do is just laminate it. I like to laminate it and put it somewhere by my bedside where I see it every morning and I can say my goals. So if you haven't watched my New Year goal setting video, then definitely check that out. But I essentially write up my goals in a way that says, I'm so happy and grateful to God now that. And I was just reading my Bible and praying this morning, and I was like, oh, I need to do that. I need that clarity. I need that reminder. I don't want to get distracted and forget what I'm doing and what my goals are, because it's so easy. I think that's quite a big thing for me, is that you can literally just forget. You can literally just forget what your goals are and how you are going to achieve them if you don't constantly remind yourself. And my goals are important, you know. I've set these goals of writing my own play and other things, and they really do matter. So I don't want to just forget them. I need to give myself the best chance of succeeding. And oh, my clip just broke as I said, best chance of succeeding. But I think we've got some more somewhere. And yeah, that kind of got me down the road of like, okay, how can I give myself the best chance of succeeding? Because there's a lot going on right now, you guys. I have so much going on. So this weekend I'm off on a retreat, which I'm super excited for. It is a Bible study retreat with my girls from church, from our small group, and I'm so excited for that. But also I have so much to plan and organise for that. And then I'm a bridesmaid for my wonderful friend. I'm super duper excited about that. However, I also need to organise a hen do, so there's a lot of work to do for that too, like a lot of work. And those are two things that are right now putting pressure, but then I also have auditions to prepare for. I don't want to neglect writing my script. I still work as a doctor. I have friendships and my relationship, and there's so much on at the moment. And I realized that I was dropping the ball, or I was constantly catching the ball at the last minute before it smashed. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I just about organized, here's my bag of clips, yay. And you know, I was putting out fires. I've been putting out fires, and that's because I've not been organised. Now, if you know the way that I work as a locum doctor, and so honestly, it's not always possible to plan things in advance. Like, shifts be coming, they be popping up, sometimes they're getting cancelled, like there's so much that can change. However, it's just kind of taking a deep breath and reminding myself of what's important and what I really need in order to function. And those are the things that I've been letting slide, you guys, like laundry. I've actually just decided to switch cameras because the other camera cut off. It's like this super cute little compact camera, and I love that. However, sometimes it just cuts off when it's filming on high quality, and because these videos are so unedited, I at least want them to be high quality for you guys. So I've decided to switch over to my uncharged very good Sony camera. Is the tracking on though, babes? That's the main question. Yes, it is. So what I was saying was that I just need to get organised, because there are certain things for me, like I'm basically expecting myself to function at quite a high level. Let's be honest, okay? Having a business, being a doctor, being a good friend, being a good girlfriend, being a good sister, being a good daughter, being a good Christian, like all of that, it can feel like a lot, right? And so I need to make it as easy as possible. I listened to this podcast one time by the Mindset Mentor. Love that podcast for like short little boosters of like get your life together, pep talk, good tips kind of stuff. But one of his podcasts, he basically is teaching you how to set a goal. And then one of the last steps on setting good goals is that you frequently ask yourself, how can I make this easier for myself? How can I make this easier for myself? And so I think I'm at that point where everything feels a little bit overwhelming. I think it's mainly because it's the retreat this week. And I really want that to be great. And I feel probably a little bit of self-created pressure for that. So I think I need to let go and give that to God. But also I think it's just a lot of things that have come up at once. So when I sense myself feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I know the things that make me feel better. And they are so annoying because they're so simple. Number one, a tidy environment. Ooh, are we cooking dinner here, Sarah? That's enough time. My bad. That's literally on like 210 degrees as well, you guys. This is why I don't use heat on my hair, because I'm sorry, what? This hair is crispy. Anyway, so things that make me feel less overwhelmed. A tidy environment, like when my space is messy, I used to think, oh, I'm naturally a messy person, but I'm actually not. Like, it's just what you learn. It's just the way that you learn to behave. So I've managed to get quite tidy in my shared spaces. So in the living room and yada, yada, but my room, I often still let get quite messy. Now, obviously I don't let it get like insanely messy all of the time, but just right now it's not spotless, and that's stressing me out a bit. So I need to tidy, but I also, more than that, I need a better system of keeping the space tidy, because it is too much work to do this massive deep clean every now and then. So organizing that. Another thing is exercise. You guys, I mean, this started off as a fitness channel, right? I love exercise. I think it's so important for your physical and mental health. And for me, it's something that like I low-key, I don't want to say never want to give up, but low-key never want to give up, because like it's so good for you. And it also helps me focus so much. So when I get overwhelmed and there's loads going on, right? And then I skip my workout, it has this knock-on effect where I'm like, I haven't worked out, I feel stodgy, I feel like just stressed, even more stressed. So I need to exercise. Other things that help when I'm feeling overwhelmed are having a clear plan of when I'm going to do things. So literally, I can be feeling overwhelmed and wanting to give up. And then if I just write out, okay, I can't do everything at the same time, but what I can do is tell myself when, set an appointment with myself of, I'm going to reply to this email at this point, I'm going to do this at that point, I'm going to meal prep at this point. That relieves my stress, because then it's kind of like my brain can at least switch off and say, oh, but we've got a time set for doing all these different things, and it becomes much less stressful. And so, yeah, I have been feeling overwhelmed and I want to fix that. And I also really want to succeed in the goals that I have in terms of putting my play on and posting here more regularly, sharing my journey, making my podcast. Like, I don't want it to be one of those things that I just do it for like a few months and then give up. Like, I really want to give my all to these things. Wow, I've really messed up that curl. We're just going to clamp it. We're just going to clamp on top of the curl. And so I need to do better. I need to make things work. And so what I've decided is that today I'm going to pause and plan. And there's a funny thing about planning, right? It can be a little bit of a mental massage, We love to plan because we're not actually doing it. So there's a fine line between taking time to plan things out, plan out your day, plan when you're going to do this, that, and this. There's a big difference between, that and procrastinating and telling yourself, oh no, I can't possibly start writing my story because I need to plan every every nook and cranny, every bit of it. And so I need to be aware that I don't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit myself down with a timer. I'm going to put on an hour timer to plan this week and next week. Just roughly plan it, what I'm doing and when. And that will help me get a lot more clarity and relief, I believe. I tend to do quite tight curls, you guys, when I curl my hair. And then I tend to like hate it a little bit. But then I usually like it once it drops. So that's what we're going for. We're doing tight little curls and they will probably drop a little bit more. But yeah, what was I saying? I will plan out my stuff, but like only for an hour. And then what I have is this journal. I've got a journal, a yearly diary, which I've bought every year for a number of years, but I really want to make my own because there are so many things that I know I thrive on. Like having a page a day. This one has like the week to view, and it's just not enough space. Like I need the whole page to be able to see like what I'm doing with my life. But one tactic that I do really like is that I will plan the month and I will use color coordination. I always write down my plans because while online diaries are amazing and I do use them, like I will set reminders on my online calendar and on my alarms for different meetings that I have. However, as a locum doctor, like there can be so many moving pieces. And so there was this one time years ago, I still remember it like it was yesterday, where I double booked myself on a shift, which is like the biggest absolute no. You don't do that. You can't be on 2 wards at once. And I did it and I was so annoyed. And it was because I hadn't entered one in my diary correctly. So it was a big confusion. And I never want to be the reason why, you know, the rota is bad. I never want to be that reason. So I just made a decision that I would never agree to anything unless I physically write it in my diary. So that is the one thing. Like someone will say, it's horrendous for planning, right? Because a friend will say, oh, are you free next Friday? And I'll have to be like, oh, can I get back to you? Because I need to look at my diary and I need to physically look at my diary. So I do use a pen and paper diary to keep my calendar, and that just adds in some extra fiction so that I can't like casually promise myself to something without knowing whether or not I'm free. And then another thing that I do is I color coordinate, because there was a time in my life where I was working and it was great, right? I was working really hard. I really feel like I was so committed and doing really well. But I was not doing anything fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved my work at the time. I think I was doing a lot of YouTube, like on here, a lot of fitness work. I was qualifying as a PT. That was all great. However, I never did anything fun. Like I would every now and then leave my bubble of work and like see a friend and just hear about all the fun things they did. And so that was when I decided to start color coordinating my diary. And so what I basically do is I write different bits in different colors. So blue is for work. That is for actual paid work, income related work. So I write every appointment. So whether I've got a hospital shift or an acting job, I'll write that in my diary in blue. Purple is for, what is purple for? Purple is for relationships. So friendships, you know, any dates with my boyfriend, whatever it is, just relationships in my life that I want to maintain, they get written in purple. And then green is for fitness. So any stuff to do with my health, I write in green. So workouts, going to the gym, all that jazz goes in green in the diary. And then black is for life admin, so anything's like doing my hair or having a nail appointment or just, you know, the paraphernalia of life, like laundry, cleaning, like that will be in black. And then pink will be things that deepen my relationship with God, so my faith. And so I will write anything like church or Bible study group or this weekend trip away, that will go in the diary in pink. And what that does, I mean, will I show you a page of my diary? Probably not, because there's probably some quite confidential stuff in there. But confidential, haha. But what it does is it allows me to kind of see my life as a whole. Because you know when people talk about this thing like work-life balance, and they're like, oh, you've got to get the work-life balance. I don't know. I get what they mean, and I've probably used that term before as well. I still use that term. But at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan of that term because it's all life. Like it insinuates that your life stops when you work. And I think that can allow us to neglect how big of a part of our life our work is, right? So for many of us, we spend the majority of our waking hours with our colleagues. And that is like a huge, huge deal. So yeah, I like to remember that my work is also my life. It's not like work v life. Like work is actually how you are spending your breath, your limited finite number of breaths. That is a huge thing. So by doing things color coordinated in this way, it helps me to see the bigger picture, because all of these things contribute to who I am, right? How I'm contributing in my relationships is super important to me. Like, I want to be a good friend, I want to be a good sister, I want to be a good girlfriend, I want to be all of that. So that is something that I need to not neglect. And whereas for me, when I'm going really hard on fitness or on work, I can have the tendency to just disappear. Like, not even the tendency to disappear. I can just be like, oh, I need to focus on this thing, and I go all in on this thing. And while that is definitely needed at certain points, like if you're in exam season, don't text me, focus on your exams. That is definitely a thing, and I don't begrudge that at all. It's just really good to be aware of it. It's so good to be aware, to look at your diary and say, okay, this month there's a lot of work going on. I don't have many socials planned. And that's okay. Just be aware of that. And you can let friends know in advance. You can do these things and, just sort your life out. So that's what I tried to do. That's what I'm going to do today. And I'm excited. Also, a new episode of the podcast just went up, which is very, very exciting. It was the Q&A that I did. So I'm really excited to see what people think about that. I just need to post on Instagram letting people know that it's up. And yeah, it's going to be a good day. If I'm honest, a lot of the tasks that I have to do today aren't that fun. Like, I don't really want to do laundry. I don't want to tidy my study. I don't particularly want to do my food shops. Oh, that's another thing, you guys. As I said, thrive off of exercising regularly. And I also thrive off of eating healthily. So for me, like, I'm at my best self when I've eaten a healthy meal, done a workout in the morning. That is like my happy place in motion. And so I've realized that with everything that I'm doing, with recording the podcast, editing the videos, singing, auditioning, writing, working as a doctor, all that stuff, having time to eat a healthy diet and cook is a huge time commitment. I went through a phase where I stopped enjoying cooking. I enjoy cooking again now, but yeah, I really went through a phase where I stopped enjoying cooking. And now it's not that I don't want to cook, it's that like the time it takes to cook is a lot longer. And so what I think I need to do is to be really intentional about my meal preps and start meal prepping again, because meal prepping really worked for me in the past. I kind of stopped it because it didn't feel as much of an essential, but I think that given how big my goals are and given what I want to achieve this year, it would be wise to save time again by meal prepping so that I can just grab a meal prep from the freezer, from the fridge, and go. And this is all part of the how can I make it easier for myself. So if I'm saying I want to do these million things and eat healthily and have like a six-pack, then I need to try and make it easier for myself. Otherwise, who do I think I am, Thor? Like, no, darling, like there's a reason why people don't do these things, because it's really hard. So how can I make it easier for myself? Meal prepping. Because then if I cook once a week, I know that, I'm getting enough vegetables, enough protein, all of that stuff to fuel the incredible amount of mental and physical work that I will be undertaking. And there are certain ways that I see myself in terms of the roles that I go for. So as someone who's done a lot of fitness work and, is fairly muscular, some of the roles I put myself forward for are roles that include needing to be physically fit and appear muscular. And so it's not even I want to maintain that. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like maintaining my voice, maintaining my skills, like the maintenance has to be there. So beyond what I look like and, being hot or whatever, it is just that this is actually kind of my job now. So creating a rhythm where I can consistently look after my body on that level is really important. So I've set up a regular food shop. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to cancel it. I got that regular delivery thing from Tesco's, you guys, where you pay a certain amount each month and you get unlimited deliveries. It's all great, but the minimum delivery is £50. And I don't really need, it's just me that I'm shopping for. Like, I don't need that much food every time. So, but then I didn't realize I signed up for a 12-month plan. So I'll see it out for the 12 months. But basically what I need to do is sit down and actually pre-plan my food deliveries, and that is amazing because it means that I can pre-plan what I'm going to meal prep and when. It saves me money, it saves me effort. Like, the food shop is coming either way. If I sit down and do that while I'm feeling motivated, the food shop is coming either way, and so the food arrives and I meal prep it. So that kind of reduces the hurdle. Whereas when I tell myself, oh, I'm going to do a food shop this Sunday and I'm going to meal prep, you know, after church, I'm kind of like, oh, do I really want to go to the supermarket straight from church on a Sunday? It's going to be super busy. It's going to be loads of queues. Like, do I want to do that? No. And so sometimes I just won't do it. Whereas by committing and pre-shopping, hopefully I'll be able to get more consistent with my meal prepping. Let me know if you would like to see a meal prepping video, by the way, because I don't know, sometimes I just get a bit like bored of what I'm eating, and I think I might be at that stage and I just want to change it up a bit more. So I'm going to try and just cook some healthy, delicious, well portioned foods. And that brings me on to another way that I can make it easier, and I think I'm at that point where I need to invest in myself a little bit. And by invest in myself, I think one thing that would be really, really helpful with my meal prepping is a deep freezer. So I used to have a deep freezer in the previous places that I've lived. I don't have one here. Now, I've been here for a few years. Is that part of the reason why I haven't been meal prepping as regularly? I don't know, maybe. I kind of think so. So I think I want to get a deep freezer. I've had a look online and they don't look crazy expensive. I think they're about between £100 and £300. But I think it's probably worth investing in that because, again, the goals I've set are really big. So being able to do a meal prep and not worry that I've cooked too much to fit in the fridge because I can just throw it all in the freezer would be amazing. And, you know, anytime I'm hungry, I usually am like super hungry. So frozen food for me is perfect, that I can literally just throw in the microwave and be on my way. So that's one investment. Another investment I think I mentioned on another video was about these cameras, baby. Like, this camera that I've got is so good, so good. But because I'm trying to film higher quality stuff these days, it does use a lot of battery. Like, right now we are on 38%. We started on 55%. That's like that battery be running. And so I think I need to just invest in another battery and a fast enough memory card. And these things all cost money. But I think it'll be worth it. So yeah, I just need to make things easier for myself because then I have more grace, right? If I haven't charged my camera for long enough, or if the camera overheats or whatever, I can fix that so much more quickly. And I don't have to, you know, if I'm filming a series and I'm both the camera woman, the actress, and the lighting writer, we don't need to be stressing. We don't need to be stressing about, oh, the battery's out and this and that and this and that. I need as little friction as I can. So I'm going to have a look for some cheap battery packs. I did have a look the other day and it was like sold out. So I'm going to try again and hopefully be able to find an alternate battery pack for my camera that will be really, really helpful. And you know what's really funny? Just talking about this has helped me to feel less stressed. Like, I was feeling quite overwhelmed. But I have a plan. There is a plan. There's a plan to make a plan, but that's still a plan in itself. And so I already feel a lot more calm and a lot better. And I think that's so, so important to just give yourself a moment and see how you can make things so much easier. Yeah, I don't know. Life be lifing. And another thing that's so important I'm really trying to do is just be really grateful, because it's so, like, the amount that my emotions change during one day is kind of crazy. I don't even think it's crazy. I think it's just human. But you can seriously go from being in a place where you're like, whoa, I accomplished that. I'm so proud of myself. Wow, everything's great. I'm so aligned with what I feel God is telling me to do. And this is exactly what I need to be doing. And everything's going to be amazing. And then literally like an hour later being like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? Should I be going back to full-time medicine? Should I be doing that? And that can be low-key a bit exhausting. So I think just reminding myself of what God has done and of all of the good things, like that's spoken about a lot in the Old Testament. Guys, I'm a Christian. I'm always going to quote the Bible, but spoken about a lot in the Old Testament, where God is telling the Israelites, so his people, right? He's like, remind yourself how I brought you out of slavery, remind yourself, like, and I think it is really important for us to remind ourselves of all of the good things God has done, all of the things that we have now that we prayed for in the past. I think it's so important to like, yeah, to not lose sight of that, because it's so easy. It's crazy how easy it is to forget. Like the other day I was praying about all these things, I was feeling stressed about all these things, and then I just looked out my window at my flat and at my view, and I was like, I remember when I had nowhere to live, all my stuff was in a van, and I literally sat 2 blocks away. I didn't know this flat existed at that time, but I sat like, I don't know, 7 minutes away, sat in my car and cried like a baby, because it was the fuel crisis. There was no fuel in my car, had all these things in my van, so my whole life in a van that I had rented that I had to return within 2 days, because that's how long I'd rented it for. The van had no fuel, so I was using the last fuel in my car to try and find new fuel for that van and also find a place to live. It was so stressful. It was so stressful. And I sat in my car about 7 minutes away from here, and I just cried. I cried. I bawled my eyes out, and I prayed to God. I was like, God, please give me somewhere to live. Please give me somewhere to live. And I was like fussy with my prayer. I was like, look, I want like a beautiful place to live. I don't want to have to live in a rubbish place that I don't feel at home in, or this or that. And I cried. And what makes me laugh about this memory, right, guys? And I'm reminding myself of this and sharing it with you because I think it's so encouraging. So I cried and I cried and I prayed. And then I remember it so vividly. I was sat in my car and I stopped crying. I wiped my eyes and said, well, but gotta get to work. I was like, gotta get to work. I got my phone out. I started searching for flats in this area, flats in this area, flats in this area. I see this one place. It's got no pictures yet. I call the letting agency and I'm like, hi, it is literally about 10 minutes to 7. So they're about to close. I'm like, hi, I've seen this place listed. Can I view it? And the guy's like, oh, I literally just put that up and I've already had 3 calls about it, because the market was insane. This was post-pandemic when everyone was coming back to London. And he was like, oh, we're just about to close shop. And I was like, oh, I'm right by it. I'm right beside it. And as I was talking to him, I like started driving towards this place to pretend, oh, I'm just right outside. I'm right outside. The guy shows me the flat on his way. Like he's about to leave the office and he's like, I'll just do a quick viewing for you. Shows me the flat. I'm like, this is amazing. It's perfect. I tell him I want it, that I'm willing to pay a deposit today. He's like, okay, we've actually already had 3 other offers or whatever. No, 2 other offers. I think there were 3 total. And I prayed about it. I told them about myself. And at this point, I had already had a deposit returned to me for another flat. So a flat that I was meant to move into, they just decided to go with someone else. And they'd already taken my deposit, but they just transferred it back to me and just left me stranded, which was so not okay. But so I was really, really desperate. And yeah, basically I ended up getting the space. I had to bid for it. I had to bid to pay more than it was listed for. But when I tell you, this space has been the biggest blessing. It is, I'm so grateful to live here. I'm so grateful to God. And it is so much better than the space that I had my deposit returned for. The flat that I wanted to live in, I was so upset when they returned my deposit and left me stranded. I don't want to use the word homeless lightly, because, you know, I stayed in a hotel, I stayed in a travel lodge while all my stuff was in the van. So this place is so much better than that. And so as I'm praying for the next thing, I have to remind myself of everything that God has done. And I think that does so many things. I think that it is amazing for our relationship with God in terms of like just gratitude is so important, like saying thank you. But also I think it's really good for our faith and for our own belief in what is possible, and to just encourage us and help us to stay strong when things are tough. You know, you really do have to. It's so much more than practicing gratitude. It is actively remembering, choosing what you meditate on and what you put in front of you, because that can hugely affect your mood. And if you are a human, then chances are that your mood can often very much dictate and sway what you actually do. And of course, our actions are really important, right? You want to be taking the action that's going to get you closer to your goal. So for me, that is something I really try and remind myself of. It's like, okay, gratitude is not a small thing. Like remembering all the things that God has done, it's not like an optional extra. It is actually a huge necessity in maintaining my mental ability to chase my goals and to live the life that I believe I'm called to live. So yeah. On the last bit of hair now, you guys. How exciting. How exciting. I don't really know what I'm curling my hair for, you guys. I just wanted to feel good and I wanted to chat with you. Oh my gosh, you know what? Someone else had asked me on another video. They'd asked me to tell them more about how I pray and my relationship with God. And I will have to do another video about that because I've just remembered and I don't know if I have enough time to talk about that. But yeah, love that, and definitely something I can talk about because I love God. And yeah, super exciting. But what I will talk about, someone did ask me how I do my hair. Now, I am no hairdresser, but I do dye, cut, and style my hair myself. These bangs actually went really wrong when I cut them, and I cried. I was so upset. But I think that we're styling them out. We're working them. For my hair, I tend to just do whatever in terms of curling, like as you can see. Because I like a messy, big, curly look. I love it. This is the heat protectant that I've used today. It is the olive oil heat protection serum. And I like it because the hair moves better over it, so I use kinky straight extensions. However, these extensions that I bought, they're not so great. The quality was really disappointing, like super disappointing. And so they should feel healthier than they do. So this is kind of like just giving them life, as much life as I can. And then I freeze my hair with this freeze hold spray. So the main thing with curls, I find that my curls last really well. They will last literally like a week. But the main thing is to let them cool before you let them down, and to spray them with freeze hold, frizz control. What is this? Hairspray. Spray them with hairspray. And that is kind of how I do my hair. Aside from that, overnight, like I usually wouldn't do my fringe like this. As you can see, it's very much giving Bridgerton in terms of like the little tiny fringe. What I would usually do is put a roller in it overnight, and that is just absolutely perfect for me. But I didn't do that last night, so I'll try and do that next time. Okay, now we'll take the curls down because I don't think I did a very good job curling. So before I spray it, I actually just want to double check if there are any bits that didn't curl well that I want to go back over. Because sometimes it be like that. Like this little bit at the end, even though it's not a big deal that it's a bit straighter, it is a big deal that it's a bit straighter, and it will stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm just gonna wrap it around and let that sizzle dizzle, and there we go. That's better now. And I think that's all okay for hairspray. And I just do shit. Sorry, that was disgusting. I just absolutely cover it in hairspray. Oh, that's not quite cool, so I should not have done that. And like this, like what is that, sir? What is that? It's just not good enough, so we'll recurl that. Anyway, another thing that I might mention as well about like keeping, you know, just making sure that you achieve your goals is to schedule motivation. I learned this from Lily Singh. She is a very famous YouTuber turned TV show host, comedian, who I used to watch her channel back in the day, and I got her book actually, How to Be a Boss, because I love reading books. I love reading self-help books. I've probably read like 100. I have no idea. I say read, listened to on Audible, but hers I actually physically read. So I got a copy of it back in the day. And one of the things that she recommended was scheduling motivation. She was like, you're not always going to feel motivated, but you can actually affect how often you feel motivated. And she basically says like that you should schedule motivation, that you will find that there are times where you feel more motivated, where you feel more inspired. Like maybe you've watched an amazing film and you just feel more like doing your craft or recording a video or whatnot. And so you should schedule it. Well, for me, I have found that to be so true. Sometimes when I find that I'm feeling super unmotivated or super like down about what I'm capable of or yada yada, it is because I simply have not done the things that make me feel motivated in a long time. And so those things for me are watching a great movie in the cinema. Watching a great movie in the cinema I find so inspiring. So I try and do that at least once a month. And another thing is motivational entrepreneurship podcasts and books. My Audible is like one of my most used apps. Like I listen to stuff all the time. Now it's kind of a balance, right? Of like listening to something via actually doing the work. So you can get stuck in, you know, this thing of where you're constantly learning. And it's like, okay, I've learned enough now. I need to go and take action. But for me, my hair looks so crazy. But for me, that is super duper important. So I schedule motivation, right? I'm going to just throw my curls out. So I do like to brush them out because, as I said, I love a big messy hair curl look. I don't know, it's not quite sitting how I would want it to sit. So what I'm going to do is grab some hair oil and just put it over. So the hair oil that I like to use is the Weller Rich Oil for dry hair. I will put links to all of these in the descriptions, by the way, so that you can get them if you want. Okay, so this is this is the finished look. I don't know why, I just feel like that is so much, I prefer it so much more. I don't prefer the fringe right now. The fringe, I still kind of hate it, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna get rid of it in the mess, you know. I'm just gonna zhuzh it up a bit. But this for me, I would say, is my preferred look. You know, just big and poofy. Big and poofy. Better way to style your fringe is to get like a little round brush and a hairdryer and just blow dry it. I find that that gives so much more volume. Alrighty then, that is it for today's video vlog. Get ready with me or do my hair with me. I don't know if I love how my hair turned out, but I don't hate it, so I'm just going to accept it. And I'm going to go and do all of the things, or try to start all of the things that I just said I would do. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you apply any of these different tactics of like when you're chasing your goals and or getting organized and stuff, let me know. And I look forward to our conversations. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Bye.